Starting with a CPU, I quickly learned that this is not an easy challenge. The cheapest options like Ryzen 5 5500 are a third of our budget, so we have to get creative here. And by creative, I mean getting one of those motherboard sets from AliExpress. I have built with them, but it was before all the RAM and SSD crisis. The prices there have also gone up, and most sets don't even sell with RAM. But I was able to find a decent kit that includes a motherboard, CPU, and 16GB of RAM for $108. We say goodbye for the ability to upgrade, but at the time this is the only way to hit the price point. We don't have a CPU cooler included here, so I also added a simple towel cooler to the order and got it for only $1 somehow. After 10 days, the package is here. So far it looks pretty good. The CPU cooler has some dents from the delivery, hopefully the heatsink is intact. And here's our motherboard set. You might ask if it's new or used, and I say it is new and used. They basically repurpose CPU and RAM from old servers with the custom motherboards like this. These motherboards have come a long way, so they are pretty well made. On the board we have an Intel Xeon E5 2650V4, which is a server CPU released back in 2016. It packs 12 cores, 24 threads that work on 2.2 GHz and boost to 2.9 GHz frequency. These days not that impressive, but those threads can come in clutch in some games. For a $15 GPU that feels like a crazy value. The motherboard itself is very basic, 6 USBs, audio, LAN, PlayStation 2, optimistic 4 RAM slots, 1 M.2 NVMe slot, PCI Express for the GPU, and PCIe X1 for extra accessories. The motherboard doesn't come with a CMOS battery, but it's not a problem, you can buy it in any grocery store. Overall, I would say the quality of the motherboard is pretty good. As you can see, the CPU is used, you can even see some thermal paste. With the motherboard you also get a screws, round bracket for the CPU cooler, one SATA cable, and I/O shield. Now to the most valuable part, which is a single stick of DDR4 ECC RAM. This is a RAM for servers that is comparable only with server CPUs like our Xeon. Shame we only have single channel, but there are some kits on AliExpress that come with 8GB sticks. We don't really have an instruction here, but I found on the web that I have to install in a first slot. Same old unclip, make sure you have a right orientation, and press down until the clips lock. The RAM is installed, let's move to our CPU cooler. Our CPU's TDP is 105 watts, so this Eigo Ice CPU cooler should be enough. It did take some hits during delivery, let's see if the heatsink is intact. In the box we get some instructions. Good packaging by the way, our 2 heat pipes, and the CPU cooler itself. It is a simple 2 heat pipe towel cooler with a 3-pin 90mm fan. It costs around $10, which is a great value. Those 2 heat pipes will easily outperform most of the stock coolers. We also get a round bracket and the screws with a pouch of the thermal paste. Looks like the cooler's round bracket doesn't fit, but the motherboard does come with a bracket. That's a perfect fit. When installing a bracket, make sure the clips are on the right side. The bracket is installed, let's apply some thermal paste. You get a small pouch of thermal paste with a cooler, which should be good enough. Xeon CPUs are pretty big, so I'll use the whole pouch. We have a rough surface finish here, so the extra thermal paste will come in handy. The cooler clips to the bracket, and the 3-pin connects to the motherboard. The fan is already on a heatsink, which is super convenient. Looks pretty good so far. Before we move on, a word from today's sponsor, OBSBOT, and their new tiny free Lite webcam. Calling it a webcam is a bit of an understatement. It is equipped with a 1.5-inch CMOS sensor that delivers crisp 4K at 30fps and 1080p at 120fps for ultra smooth motion. The camera is built into a gimbal that brings AI tracking to your desk. You can choose to track your body, hands, objects, and even voice. In OBSBOT Center, you have full control of the camera and modes. My favorite feature is voice control. You can set up presets for different camera angles and switch between them with the voice commands. Position 2. I did use this camera in the making of this video and it performed great. Position 3. The audio quality is also impressive, with 5 modes to choose from. You can hear the pure audio right now. The webcam packs even more features like beauty mode, HDR, low light performance, a teleprompter, and even a VTubing mode. For $199, it is an incredible value for a production powerhouse like this. If you are starting out streaming, making videos, or want to impress your coworkers in a meeting, make sure to check out Tiny Free Lite with the link below. The PC is coming together, now we need a storage, which has also become a lot more expensive. expensive. We have to compromise with the amount, so I got this 256GB SSD off Amazon. That's $54.99 from our budget. It is Gen 3, supports 3D NAND, so it should be good for gaming. I never heard of this brand, but SSD has good reviews and even comes with a screwdriver. Looks like the sticker even has an aluminum foil layer, which will be great for cooling. 256GB seems like a small amount, but it should be enough for 2-3 heavy games, or Call of Duty if we get lucky. I should have installed the storage before the CPU cooler, luckily it didn't fully block the slot. Now we need to install this into a case. With such a limited budget, it is tempting to use a cardboard box, but that would be too scrappy. So I found the cheapest PC case on Amazon, which is this TDG Gamer High Airflow for $29.99. They were kind enough to send it out for the video, so shout out to TGD Gamer. The case itself is very compact, it supports up to micro ATX motherboards, no glass side panel here, but we get some openings for airflow. Standard size power supply, USB 3.0, and it even comes with an exhaust fan. For $30, that's a huge value. I'm actually surprised with the quality of this case for the price. The metal is thin, but it has a good surface finish, no sharp edges, and the paint job looks pretty good. It comes in black and white colors. Black one is a bit cheaper, but I'm gonna be using a white one for the aesthetics. The I/O shield goes in. Let's move some wires and install our motherboard. We have 4 motherboard stand-ups, which should be enough for this motherboard. Let's align the motherboard with the stand-ups, and you can use the screws that come with the case. The motherboard is installed, looks pretty good in the case. Now we have to find the GPU. We don't have a lot of budget left, we will also need to get a power supply, so there is only one way that will get us close to the Xbox Series S performance, which is this RX 580 2048 SP. I got this one for $120 from HyperRender on Amazon. Performance-wise, it is a slightly modified RX 570 with 8GB of VRAM. It's not a perfect option, but it should be good enough for online games. And the card itself actually looks pretty good. It is in white color, so it gets some aesthetic points. Plastic quality feels good. The card does require 8-pin connector, and on the back we have 3 display and 1 HDMI port. Now that I see the card is pretty big, hopefully it will fit in our case. Before installing it in a case, let's power up our build. So I got this a PVS Spirit 600 watts PSU. You get a simple instruction and the PSU itself. Overall, a very simple PSU. I used it in a couple of builds and it did pretty well. Now that we have everything, it's only left to build the PC. Unfortunately, the PC didn't start. And after checking some basic stuff, it was clear it's not a simple fix. I have a bad luck with white GPUs, so I decided to check the GPU first. Hooked up my chat test card and PC booted right away. I then checked HyperRender GPU in another build and got no signal again. I don't see any bad reviews on this card, so I might have gotten a defective card. Anyway, I wanted to get another one, but then decided to go with a RX 590 GME from AY Cerix. It costs $20 more, but it has a bit more performance as well. Looks pretty good, it even comes with the stickers. PC booted right away, and then I installed Windows 11 with all the updates. By the way, this PC doesn't support TPM 2.0, so I had to use Rufus instead of Windows 2 to create a bootable USB. I would call it the biggest drawback of this build. I personally don't agree with the TPM 2.0 becoming a hard requirement, but some games already have it, and I guess others are planning on adding it, so these games would simply not launch on this PC. Overall, the PC feels responsive, storage has good speeds, and the AMD found drivers for the GPU right away. I ran a 3D Mark benchmark, and the build scored 4200 points, which is respectable for a $300 PC. I then downloaded a lot of games, so enjoy the benchmark. To sum it up, I think this PC is great at running online games, a bit of settings tweaking and you could enjoy well over 60 FPS in most games. In newer single player games, you are pretty much always looking at low-mid settings with FSR in balanced mode. And by the way, all the games that I tested with FSR in balanced mode looked pretty good. At max I can notice some blurry edges, but if I sit back with a controller I can't even tell a difference. In some games graphics card usage jumps around sometimes, but nothing crazy. I was happy with the frame time graph as well, games are responsive and you can even enable frame generation in slow paced games. Against all odds, this $300 gaming PC managed to outperform Xbox Series S in both Apex Legends and Arc Raiders. It's not perfect, building something like this is definitely a challenge, but for the price it is an incredible value. Is a budget PC like this better than owning a console? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and maybe check out my next video.